Good afternoon. Welcome to the premiere episode of Leonard Leans Left, while it's still legal. And if you're watching this show, I appreciate it. Thank you. Bear with me. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever tried to do my own show, so it will be a work in progress. But I have some ideas for the show. Like I said, I have Daniele Bolelli will be my regular guest once a week. If you don't know who he is, he's a history professor. He has a podcast called History on Fire, where he does deep dives into historical events. If you don't know, if you've never heard that show, you should listen to it. It's very good. He also has another show called The Drunken Taoist, where they just talk about life and philosophy, and he has lots of good guests on that show. I was a guest once. Great honor. Anyway, as you see, I got a backdrop because people said that I look like a serial killer in a basement, which I probably did. So I had this rug. I bought it a long time ago in Vegas, and it was a rug. And then I got here, and my mom wouldn't let me put it out. I tried to put it in the front room, and she didn't want it there. I tried to put it on the front porch, and she didn't want it there. So I wound up rolling it up and putting it in the basement. And when I was trying to figure out the backdrop problem, I was like, hey, wait a minute. I got that rug. It really ties the show together. Oh, wait. I got a chat box. Let's see if this will work. Now, this chat box that I have set up is supposed to be able to show me the comments that people make when they're watching this show so that we can interact from Facebook and YouTube, because we're streaming both at the same time. This is a big achievement for me. If you've been watching my tests, I'm not so tech savvy, but I've managed to figure all this out, set it all up. I got to thank my friend Jerry Saylor, who I used to be in the Kentucky Hot Brown Boys podcast. But that was their show, and then I joined it. And there was three of us, so it was different. Like I said, I've done podcasts before, but I've never been the driving host of the show. I've always been like a side guy. The Hot Brown Boys was their show, and I came on as a guest, and they liked me so much they asked me to come back as a guest, and I came back again. And the third time I went back, they were like, hey, you just want to join the show? So I just joined. And we did that show until I moved away. Many of you probably don't know. When I first left Cincinnati, I didn't go to Vegas. I went to Charlotte. But anyway, this show's not a fucking my life story. We're here to talk about what's going on in the world today. I mean, I haven't really decided what this show is going to be. Like I said, we're definitely going to talk about what's going on in the world, and it's happening so fast. I mean, think about it. Trump's been in office for a month, right? There was a plane crash yesterday. Another plane crash. Yesterday in Fort Worth, Texas. And then today, 2 planes in Chicago almost smashed into each other on the runway. Now, people who love Trump will try to convince you that this has nothing to do with the fact that they've been fucking around with the FAA and firing people. But, I mean, I'm not a statistical analyst, but there wasn't a plane crash for 17 years with fatalities, and Trump's been in office for a month. There's been 10 plane crashes. I'd say there's something going on. I mean, I don't know. Or you could be crazy, just like you were crazy if you thought that he was a Russian agent, even though his campaign manager gave data to Russia, even though all the podcasters and influencers on the right are paid by Russia. But no, there's no connection. And if you think that, you're a communist and you're insane. He fired the military JAG lawyers yesterday. Why do you think that is? I was talking to my dad yesterday, and he said this is what he thinks, that he's just going to keep doing stuff until people start protesting. And then when people start protesting, like really heavy in the streets, then he'll declare martial law. I don't believe that's ever happened. And martial law, I mean, the United States is big. I mean, you know, it's one thing to be in, like, South Korea guy tried to pull that off, you know. It's like, okay, maybe, but that's a small area. Like, the United States is a big country. You're going to lock that down. And the military is filled with, half the people don't like him, I'm sure. This country's on the verge of fracturing. Like, right down the middle. There's already states, I don't know how serious it is, but I've seen it going around online. There's already states talking about northern states like Vermont seceding and joining Canada. I don't know how that would work either. You know, I mean, I talked about it before. It's on a smaller scale. That's what's going on in Idaho. In Oregon. In the eastern part of Oregon, it's a lot of it's out in the country, so there's a lot of mega, you know, people, and the other part, most of Oregon is very liberal, and they fucking hate that. So there's a couple counties that have they've been trying for a couple years to write these petitions and try to secede from Oregon and join Idaho. Because Idaho is more, you know, mega. If you didn't see that, Idaho the other night, there was a town hall and a woman spoke up and the sheriff told her to shut up and she kept talking and 3 guys just came over, held her down, zip-tied her and dragged her out. Nobody knew who these guys were. Apparently they were some private security company. But for a minute there, nobody knew who they were. They just appeared, you know. And why is the sheriff hiring private security? That's you know. And who are these people? I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Today, Trump to take control of the press pool. Now he's going to decide who gets into the press pool and who gets to cover the White House. And I don't know. It's been a long time since I read it, but I'm pretty sure in the U.S. Constitution it says that the freedom of the press shall not be abridged. And I would think that for their own good, all these press companies should band together and sue him immediately. All of them together, even the Breitbarts and the Fox Newses, and you know they should join with the APs and the CBS and NBC. They should all sue him together. He should not be able to dictate who covers the White House, because it's essential constitutional freedom that's given to people in the Constitution. Which I find it mind-blowing that there seems to be a huge number of people in this country who don't care about the Constitution anymore. And they'll tell you, that's the other thing, it's not a cult. But Trump can do anything he wants. And shit all over the Constitution and the norms and the rules that we've lived under for 200 plus years. Because they want to own libs. Whatever that means. Hey, look, Martin Hernandez said the French media stuck up for AP at the White House this week. Yes, they did. What are you watching on, Martin? YouTube or Facebook? Facebook, it says right there. Cool. So this works. Another win for me. All right. So I am getting your, yes, the French media stuck up for the AP. Well, they were the French AP. So Macron brought them with him. That's how they got around the ban, was they brought a French AP reporter with Macron, and then I'm sure they had that planned to, that was the other thing. He tried to lie. Yeah, I see Facebook. Thank you. He tried to lie again about how much more we've given in Europe to help Ukraine, and how much, and that they're going to get paid back, and they're not, you know, and they know that. And then it was cute how he just put his hand on him and was like, well, to be frank, what you're saying is complete bullshit. That's the other thing I don't understand, is they just let him lie with impunity. He gets up there and he just says things that are blatantly not true. And nobody says anything. They just let him do it. It blows my fucking mind. Like, there's not one reporter or anybody yeah, exactly, who will stand up and be like, hey, this is complete bullshit. I mean, a lot of these things are easily provable false. So I will give them this. MAGA is the best gaslighters I have ever seen. I mean, they're so good at it now that they don't even care. They're not even hiding it. They give the Nazi salute and then go, oh, that's not a Nazi salute. It's Roman. Or it's like, where do you think they got the Nazi salute? I'm sure that's where they copied it from, because, you know, how fond the Nazis were of. Yes, the governor of Maine. I loved her. Yeah, she told him to fuck off, right? Right there. All those men, these Republicans, they're starting to get backlash at home. Which is good, because, like I said, the only way out of this is if the Congress grows some balls and reasserts their power. Like, others considered the idea that the Congress would willingly give up their own power. I think that when they set up the government, they thought, okay, the Congress will be these people, and they'll have power, and the president will have power, but the Congress is a check on them, and then if they push it far enough, then the court, the judiciary, will decide what's legal and what isn't. Well, I don't believe that they thought, well, yeah, 26, but do you think that, like I said, you think they're going to let that? I have a bad feeling. I said that they're not going to, well, I don't know if they'll be able to, but they're not going to want to let 26 happen. Well, yeah, that's what I said, is they got to retake the Congress, and then they can reassert some authority. And if they get enough of a majority of the Congress, they can impeach his ass and remove him. But that's what needs to happen. I mean, even these Republicans, like, sooner or later they have to understand what's really happening. I mean, let's take aside the fact that he put Kash Patel. If you don't know who Kash Patel is, you don't know much about him. He's basically just a drooling nutlicker who follows Trump around on his knees and, will do anything he says. He wrote 3 children's books about King Donald. I'm not kidding. And if you see these books, it's like Trump in a king outfit. And he's beset on all sides by conspirators, and he's protected by a wizard named Cash. You can't make this shit up. This is real life. So anyway, they managed to get these people, they managed to put Tulsi Gabbard in charge of our national intelligence. Never mind that she's never, first of all, doesn't have any experience in intelligence whatsoever. And second of all, never mind that she's kind of dumb if you listen to her talk. She's not a real bright person. And third of all, the fact that she was hanging out with Assad and in Russia they call her, I forget what they call her, Auntie or something, Aunt Gabrielle. Like, they love her, basically. Russia loves her. So, let's put her in charge of intelligence. Okay, that's fine. If the president is allowed to pick who he wants, and I actually go along with that, he could pick who he wants. But the Congress is supposed to advise and consent, and they're not supposed to just bend over and let him put in completely unqualified people. Here's my thing with these people. It's not even that I disagree with them politically. It's not even, to me, have any experience in the fields that they've been appointed to. Tulsi Gabbard has no experience whatsoever in intelligence, right? She's the National Intelligence Director. Pete Hegseth was a squad leader in the National Guard and a Fox News weekend host and a drunk, supposedly, allegedly. Now he's in charge of the Pentagon, the military, your national security. And he has zero experience. Apparently he ran two veterans groups, and they fired him because he couldn't even manage the money in these small groups. And they allegedly he was drinking. It's like, that's all right. He's running the Pentagon now. The first thing he did was fire the the first thing he did was fire the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's a black guy, DEI, whatever. But then I went and looked it up, his resume. You realize this guy? I think his name was CQ Brown. I can't remember his last name. He has 4 degrees. One in aerospace, science, engineering. He was a fighter pilot for many years. He ran the Air Force in the Western Theater in Asia for years and years and years. To get to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he's fired by a guy who's a weekend Fox News host and a squad leader in the National Guard. Weekend warrior. He's a real weekend warrior. He only works on the weekends. He only serves on the weekends. During the week, I guess he just drinks. This guy's in charge of the military. So they cleared out, and then they fired this woman who was head of the Navy. Same thing. Looked up her resume. It's amazing. I'm not going to name it all off, but I can guarantee you, her resume is much more impressive than Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is running the military because he's a TV guy. He's good on TV. And he licks Trump's nuts. That's it. That's the only qualification that you need. Oh, there's Julie. You did. That's okay. You don't gotta watch me. I'm just sitting here. Do you see me do it just for a second? Look, I'm out of the basement. No, I'm still in the basement, but I put up a backdrop because everybody was saying, hey, you look like... I was going for the bunker element, but apparently it wasn't working. I guess I should have put some weapons up behind me. Some canned food. Doomsday prepping. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. The only qualification that any of these people have is that they'll kiss Trump's ass and do whatever he wants. And that's it. So, Hegseth's running the military. They fire the Joint Chiefs and they fire the Chief of the Navy. They didn't even have a replacement for the Navy lady. They were like, well, we don't know yet. So they fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and they brought this guy out of retirement because his name's Raisin Cane. I don't even remember his real name. But Trump likes him because his name was Raisin Cane. He's like, get that guy that's named after the chicken fingers. That's who I want. And he put on a MAGA hat and said he'd kill for Trump. So he's even less qualified than, well, I guess he's more qualified than Hegseth. He's less qualified than DEI. Here's the deal about the DEI, okay? The very fact that this guy Hegseth can stumble bum through his life, get fired for being a drunk, be drunk on Fox News, and still ascend to the top position in the Pentagon, then turn around and fire a guy who's black, who has a resume that's 5 times more impressive than him, is the very reason why DEI was invented in the first place. Like, Hegseth can just be a drunken loser and he still can just bum his way through life. This guy has to excel at every single thing he does, and he did. And he still gets fired by the guy who's in the National Guard. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that people will even accept this kind of shit. To me. Now, maybe I'm an extremist. But so you got that going on, right? Then they fire the JAG attorneys, right? And then the woman he goes on Fox News. Here's another thing. These people were Fox News personalities, right? And now they're administration officials, and all they do is go back to Fox News. Fox News is like state TV, I'm telling you. It's just like RT or what they have in North Korea. It's the same shit. If you turn on Fox News, they don't say nothing bad about Trump. They don't say anything about the fire and the rehire. All they talk about is how great he is. They don't talk about how people are disappearing, into the jungles of Panama because they're immigrants. Oh, here's another thing I just saw today. I don't know if you saw this. He signs his executive order. He's going to sell a gold card. He calls it a gold card. He's going to sell a gold card for $5 million. And with that, you can have a green card. So, if you're an immigrant who's rich, and you got $5 million, you want to become an American citizen, you can buy yourself a green card citizenship for $5 million. And he just says, oh, we're going to have wealthy people coming in. I've never heard it. It's unbelievable. You can make this shit up. I've been saying over and over and over. If you took this movie script to a movie producer, they fucking laugh at you. No, they want to go to, Julie says, maybe that's why they want to go to Fort Knox. No, they want to go to Fort Knox because it's an internet conspiracy. This whole administration is run by internet conspiracy. Like, they don't live in the real world, these people. They're fucking nuts. They believe every fucking crazy thing. This woman, I can't remember her name, but she runs the Oversight Committee. The Oversight Committee, who's supposed to be doing oversight on the president, they're having their first meeting in March. You know what they're going to be doing? They're looking into the Kennedy assassination. I'm not making this up. The Government Oversight Committee. is having their first meeting to look into the Kennedy assassination. It's unbelievable. All right, so that's the military. Now look at the FBI. He put Kash Patel into the FBI. Okay, Kash Patel, again, bootlicker, nutlicker. Never mind that he has zero experience in the FBI. He's never been an agent. He's never worked the FBI. He's never done anything. He's going to run the FBI. Okay, that's fine. Though the deputy director of the FBI for 117 years since the FBI has been in existence. The assistant director has always been an agent who has worked in the FBI usually his whole life. He's a career agent. And Kash Patel met with the people at the FBI when he first went there, when he first got confirmed, and told them that yes, he was going to follow that tradition and that the assistant director would be an agent. And then yesterday, I don't know if it was yesterday, I think it was the day before, Trump says his name Dan Bongino is assistant director of the FBI. Again, Dan Bongino. Who's Dan Bongino? Well, he's a podcaster and a former Fox News personality. There's a common theme, if you haven't noticed, running through all this stuff. So, anyway, he was a Secret Service agent. He was never an FBI agent. He doesn't know anything about the FBI, except that all the crazy shit that he said on his podcast about how the FBI is horrible and terrible and needs to be destroyed. And now these people are inside of the FBI running it. Now, again, let's put aside the fact that we don't agree with these people, right? I don't agree with them politically, but that's not the issue. The issue is neither one of them have any experience whatsoever running the FBI or being in the FBI. They've never been agents. They don't know anything about it. The FBI is what protects you from terrorist attacks. It's what protects your children from child sex rings and all that other shit. It's what protects supposedly drug rings and kingpins and the FBI does all kinds of shit. It keeps you safe. Do you feel safe? You think these people are going to prevent 9/11? They don't even know what they're doing. And nobody seems to care. That's the thing that I don't understand. It's like, dude, I don't care if you put someone... For years and years and years, there have been people running the FBI and running the Pentagon that I didn't agree with politically, but these people were qualified people. What we have right now is a reality television show. That's what you have. It's not a government. Yes, convinced Trump thinks he's still the star of a reality TV game show. Well, that's the other thing is, what does Trump know? That's it. He knows about being on TV. That's it. That's all he knows. I mean, he was president once, but his whole presidency was him saying, hey, I want to do all this crazy shit. And people going, no. That's why his gloves are off now. He's like, I'm going to do all this crazy shit and dare somebody to stop me. And so far, no one's done it. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You got nutlickers all over the place. Like Mark Wayne Mullen, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. That's all he does is go on TV to say, well, this is the way it's got to be, you know. Scott Jennings is on CNN. He's professional nutlicker. His whole entire existence is based to convince you. Yeah, I said the biggest ratings during COVID. Yes. It's a whole machine. That's what I'm saying. And let me tell you something right now. When Elon Musk, we haven't got into Elon Musk yet, but when Elon Musk bought X, he was like, "Oh, I bought X so we can restore free speech to this country," and blah 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 blah. You know, but that was never his plan. His plan was to buy X because he knows it's a big giant brainwashing machine. It's like a brainwash ray from like an old 70s movie, except it's not a ray gun. It's just, it reaches right into your house through your phone or your computer. And they've set up this network over years and years and years. Like I said, financed by Russia, a lot of it, with podcasters like Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Matt Walsh, Benny Shapiro, and they've built this brainwashing network, and it's all interconnected with X. Well, Twitter. I still call it Twitter, but and you can call it whatever you want. It's a piece of shit, is what it is. It's a den of Nazis and scumbags. And again, I've been saying this since 2015. Okay? I saw this coming from the very beginning, but nobody wanted to listen. You know, you're like, hey, this is really at the core. This is a Nazi fascist movement. And what they did was, see, those people have always been Republicans because they're right? But the old Republicans, they had enough sense to keep those people at arm's length and to be like, hey, you know, yeah, they agree with us. Giant propaganda machine sort of reminds me of the movie Wag the Dog. Yes, like Wag the Dog. I mean, but that's how a lot of stuff is. Only it used to be they would just try, they would use... Me and Danielle were talking the other night, and this is true. Or he said, and it's true, that we used to be able to agree on facts. And then you'd say, okay, here's the facts. And then you would debate about how you would handle whatever the situation was. What we have now is we have a world where nobody can even agree on the facts. People have their own facts. Like Kellyanne Conway started it with we have our alternative facts. You know, alternative facts are bullshit. That's what, if you have to clarify what kind of facts you have, it's bullshit. It's like, there are, you know, you used to look at a set of statistics and people would agree, okay, these are the numbers. Now, if they don't like those numbers, they just attack the source. And they say, oh, well, these numbers, they come from liberals, so you can't trust, you know. And they spent years. See, it all started when Woodward and Bernstein got rid of Nixon. When they exposed Watergate and Nixon had to resign, the right freaked out. And they all got together in a room and they said, well, how are we going to get around this? And they said, well, it's the press who is the watchdogs. And so as long as the press is around, you can only go so far. You know, you're going to get exposed. So that's when they started the Rush Limbaughs and the Hannitys and the Rupert Murdoch started Fox News. And he even says that Fox News was only created as an alternative to regular news that was going to be slanted to the right because they felt like, you know, real facts are dangerous if you live in a fantasy world and you need to be, you know, stroked with lies and bullshit. Because that's the only way they can justify their positions. It's just like now. They're trying to do the same thing that they've done in the past to failure. Epic failure. But they're going to do it again because that's all they know how to do. is they think that, well, they give all the money to the rich people and that's going to solve all the problems. That doesn't get me as much as the regular, jerk off person. Like today, for example, at work. Like, I work with lots of people, and well, I mean, everybody does, but I guess that's a stupid thing to say. Everybody works with lots of people, but everybody at work. You're at work, so there's lots of different kinds of people there. So of course, there's Trump supporters at work, and we were in the morning meeting. I work at a store, and the guy and the manager started talking about, okay, the meat prices are going to start going up, and he goes, actually, pricing all over the store is going to go up because of inflation. And as we were walking away from the meeting, I was talking to another guy, and I was like, oh, I thought he was going to fix that. And the Trump supporter guys, I swear to God, this is what he says. He goes, well, it's going to take a long time. It was so broken. It's going to take so long. And I'm like, it was broken. Like, unemployment was at the lowest levels they've been in years. Inflation was going down, finally, right? And these are facts, okay? You can look them up. The stock market was high. Everything was good. Everything was on an upward trend. And of course, everybody likes to talk about, the economy and Biden and this and that and the other. The pandemic was something different for everybody. Okay? Every country economically. And if you look at the numbers, America recovered from the pandemic economically faster than other countries. Okay? So, you can say whatever you want, but these are facts. That everything was trending positively until Trump got inaugurated. We have nearly 60% of the adult population with the fifth grade understanding of everything, so they're very easily indoctrinated. No real surprise we have it. Yeah, that is the truth, 100%. But this country's always been like that. 40 years ago, when I was in the 8th grade, I used to carry around books. I'd read books. And, the other kids were, what'd you read them books for? What'd you... like a Bill Hicks bit. But it's true. Like, oh, look at him reading them books. You think you're smarter than us. I don't think I'm smarter than you. I fucking know it. Fuck off, Americans have always been lazy and entitled. And most of the time, the system was set up in a way, like I said, that if you were white, like I said, look at Hex said, you can stumble bump through your life. You can do all kinds of shit. You can get arrested and get in trouble. And it doesn't matter. People will forgive you. You can get another job. If you were upper middle class or rich, you could get away with anything. Now, if you're a poor white person, you get arrested. Yeah, of course. You're not going to get no job. They're not going to help you. That's the thing that white people never understood. That's why white supremacy is a fallacy. It's like, these billionaires don't give a fuck about you. Whether you're white or you're black. Like they just use that as a tool to keep everybody fucking fighting each other. And, from joining up and killing them. Because if we join with the blacks and the Latinos and we all turn on the rich people, they're fucked. They know that. This country's always been that way. That's why when slavery was ended, that's what they did. They said to the poor white people, oh, no, look, they're going to take your jobs. And that's where that came from. They're going to take your jobs. And they've been using that for years. For, as long as this country's been alive. I mean, you have to remember, when they wrote the Constitution and all those words about people being created equal, and all that shit, women couldn't vote at all. And black people were slaves. The Indians, they were killing. It's like, yeah, they're all equal. Like, no. As they used the Chinese, like, to build the railroads, which is working to death. Yeah, exactly. Julia says the poor are cannon fodder. That's why they want more people having babies. Get the military numbers up. They have someone to send about it. Well, it's that, but I think the baby obsession comes from the numbers. It's like, because the country's not so white anymore. And that's why they're having all these deportations, and they're trying to lock down the borders. They're trying to get rid of abortion and make all the white people have babies. And they're going to drive up the white number. Don't think that's not what it's about. That's what it's about. Yes, white babies. That's what they want. We haven't even gotten into the fact that the very idea that they let Trump set up his own concentration camp in Guantanamo Bay and just start shipping people off down there. That's one thing to say you're going to deport people, okay? You want to round them up, you're going to send them back to their country, okay? That's horrible. But that's not, we're going to round you up and we're going to take you somewhere offshore where no one can really see what we're doing, where they have to try really hard to see what we're doing, and we're going to take you there. And then what? You're in a prison for what? Because you crossed another border illegally? Like, is that something you should go to prison for? And that they haven't been able to get more than half the people that they've been deporting don't have criminal records, okay? You know why? Because once again, that whole, migrants are killing everybody, and they're all murderers, like, that's all bullshit. And that's the reason why the numbers aren't high. There aren't that many of them. Most people that come here just come here. They just want to get to work, to get money. I lived in Florida for years, 10 years. There's whole house loads of Mexicans, okay? All they do is cross the border, go to Florida, work construction or whatever the fuck, landscaping. You get all those golf courses. There's lots of opportunities for them to work. They can pick oranges, fruit. So they're down there, they're picking oranges and fruit. They're doing landscaping. They're doing construction. And they're drinking. They all live in one apartment. There's like 10 of them live in one apartment. They drink their beers at night after work. And they send their money home to their families. That's what they do. I'm not making this up. Like, this is what happens. I've seen it. Now, that's the majority of immigrants. Now, are there criminals? Sure. Sure, there's criminals, but there's criminals everywhere, of all kinds. The majority of these immigrants are coming here to make money to feed their children. Is that something you should go to prison for? At least and be shipped to Guantanamo Bay? And that's not to mention that there's other immigrants. This is happening. You can look it up. It's 100% true. There's immigrants from other countries, right? And they have to. Yes, Julia says they're viewing undocumented immigrants here the same way Bibi views Palestinians. All of them are terrorists in his eyes. No innocent civilians. It's cruel and inhumane. Yes, it is. But this is actually happening, okay? And the fact that people don't care that this is happening, to me, is even more disturbing than what's actually happening. So there's immigrants. Their countries have to say that they'll take them back. They can't just fly into another country and drop them off a bunch of people. So Some countries have agreed to take them back, and so they ship them down there. But there's some that don't. Like, there was a woman from Iran, so I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Iran probably told him to fuck himself. That if he picks up Iranians, that they're not going to take them back. So, but there's other countries too. It's not just that. I don't have a list. I guess I could get one. Of countries who refused to take him. Anyway, so what Trump did was make a deal with Panama that they would take these people. I guess they agreed to it because they're trying to get him to not fucking invade them and take the Panama Canal back. Which he's threatened to do. Which is insane in of itself. But anyway, so they sent these people to Panama while they were in a hotel first. There's pictures of them. They were all standing in a window, and this woman was writing, "Help me, help us," or something on the window with lipstick. And then they came and put them on a bus and took them out into some camp in the middle of the jungle in Panama, where there's cages and shit, like something you see out of a movie, like The Deer Hunter. It's insane. People are literally just disappearing. You know, you just got disappeared. Like if that happens to you, right? I mean, you were here, they picked you up, all of a sudden they fly you down to Panama, and now you're out in the jungle in a fucking cage. You've been disappeared. Now what happens to these people? They're just there, like, well, what happens now? You know, and people don't seem to care. Maybe they don't know, but more people need to know. You should tell your friends, look this up and show it to your friends, because like he was saying, to 26, there's a midterm. I don't think we can wait that long. People got to get in the streets. People got to go to their Congress, like I said, go to the town hall where your congressman is and raise hell, man. In massive numbers. Like they have to understand, like, that people aren't going to stand for this kind of shit. And if they only have a 3-vote majority in the House, so if we get 5 Republicans to turn, they're fucked. I mean, you can hold them off until 2026 with congressional shit. Now, will that happen? I don't know. We haven't even talked about the Justice Department. So he makes Pam Bondi, who was the Attorney General of Florida, the Attorney General. And she says, of course, well, we're not going to have politics in the Justice Department, and we're not going to have an enemies list or any of that. And then she takes the oath of office, and the first thing she does is go, here's our list. We're going after the New York because they didn't follow the immigration, blah, 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 you know. And today, I don't know if you know about this. This just happened today. Now, this is very disturbing. Well, first of all, let's talk about the mayor of New York. So, the mayor of New York was under indictment for corruption, for taking bribes and using his office to give people favors and to take money for that. And so they indicted him before he came out against Biden's immigration stuff. This happened before. So when they tell you, oh, this is political because he didn't want to go along with the thing, well, you can look. The indictments were filed before this happened. So that's another bullshit story, because that's all they have is bullshit. That's all they do is lie constantly about everything. Anyway, so the mayor goes to Trump down in Mar-a-Lago and says, well, hey, you want to deport people out of like Rikers Island and some, and they won't let you. He says, well, here's the deal. I'll let you do that if you make this case go away. So the Justice Department filed a motion to dismiss the case. And the people in the New York State Attorney General's office resigned. And now these aren't liberals. These are members of the Federalist Society. These are conservative people. They resigned. And one guy wrote a letter and was like, you might find some cowardly fool who will file this motion for you, but it won't be me. It will never be me. And I applaud those people 100%. But they resigned, and so they just went down there. The acting attorney general, who was, I guess he's the deputy now that Pam Bondi's really attorney general, he went down there himself and argued that they should dismiss the case. Now, they wouldn't say why. And they didn't say, oh, it's because this case is weak. It's because they didn't say that. But they said, we assure you there's no quid pro quo or no deal. Well, yeah, of course. But the guys on Fox News going, if he doesn't do what he says, I'll be down there with my hand up his ass. That's what he said literally. I'll be down there with my hand up his ass asking him why he didn't do what he agreed to do. And then they turn around and tell you, oh, there was no deal. They lie. And they've gotten, well, I mean, it's not even that they've gotten so good at it. People have just accepted. Right-wing people don't question anymore. They go, well, whatever they want to do, that's what they're doing. Yeah, but it's against the law. Well, they rationalize it somehow. For the good of the country, or we're owning lives, and that's all they care about. And a lot of it is that. They're owning libs, and that's all they care about. If you go online, you'll see them. They'll be like, your liberal tears are delicious, Anyway, so what happened today was there's a representative in Congress from Florida named Corey Mills, right? So he was having an affair with some woman who's not his wife. They got into a fight, and he roughed her up. So she called the police. Police came. He says, yeah, it got a little rough, and they heard him on the phone, yelling at her to lie about how she got bruised up. So it's under no question that he assaulted this woman, right? So they wrote up an arrest warrant for him. Washington, D.C. police wrote up an arrest warrant for him and turned it into the U.S. attorney, and they won't sign it. They won't sign an arrest warrant because this guy's in the Congress and they need his vote, especially if they only have 4-vote majority. They need his vote. So they're going to let him get away with it. And that's the other part. This is how good they are at gaslighting. These people convince you that they're the moral ones, right? Because they don't like trans people, and they don't like wokeness, and they're the people of family values. But yet this guy, I guess, raping or beating up women is okay to them. Because there's lots of... Pete Hegseth was accused of sexual assault, paid off a woman $50,000 to sign a non-disclosure agreement about it, and then they say, "Oh well, these are nameless accusations, yes, by the person that you paid money to remain nameless." It's unbelievable. If you, it's insane, the whole thing. Anyway, so the Justice Department is declining to enforce the law on a Republican congressman because they need his votes. And we're only a month into the administration, and this kind of shit's already happening. This is banana republic shit. They justify their abuse against women using their Bible. Well, yeah, that too. But that's a whole nother fucking story. That's for another episode of the Bible. We'll get into that, I'm sure, at some point. I can't just talk about this kind of stuff all the time. That's it. So we'll have deep dives into subjects. like the Bible. But anyway, yeah, they convince you that they're the moral ones. Here's what they do, okay? I noticed it the other day. I can tell you right now that I've seen about 50 stories in the last few months about preachers, right-wingers, Republican Congress people, fucking around with kids or whatever, you know. And you don't hear any of that on Fox News. None. Okay? And then one guy, and I can't remember where it was, Maine maybe, somewhere like that. One guy was using the trans policy somewhere to get access to you know, Planet Fitness locker rooms or I don't fucking know, but I didn't catch it all because to tell you the truth, when Fox News is on, I just fucking my veins start fucking bubbling in my head. And my mom turns it on all the time. So anyway, so they're like, oh, look at this guy. He's using the trans thing to get to kids. And it's like, yeah, but what about the preacher that uses the church to get to kids? What about... These people gaslight themselves. You know, people still take their kids to Catholic church. I'm sure there's still altar boys and all that shit. I mean, I don't go there. I don't know, but I'm sure there is. I'm sure the whole tradition, the whole structure of it hasn't changed that much. And they knew that there's a molestation factory where these priests are just diddling kids all over the goddamn place, and they still go there. Because that's how hard these traditions are baked into people. You know, religions and it's a brainwash, bro. Like anything else. It's unbelievable that you think that people can't see it, but they can't. They don't know. Yeah, I mean, the average person, I guess, needs direction. They're too dumb to survive on their own. So they need to join these groups, you know, where they feel protected and they feel a part of something, and maybe they don't feel power. I mean, I don't know what I've never been able to get into, even when I was a little kid, when I was in church. I was like, I don't get this, you know. And I've never, ever loved a political, you know, leader like, oh my God, I would die for this person. Like, they come, they go, you know. It's like some of them you like, some of them you don't. But I've never felt like, oh my God, like I've never been a Democrat. Like, I've never been a card-carrying member of any party. Why? Because I don't join big groups of people. I'm a comedian. I mean, I wound up being a comedian, but I was a musician before that, and we all live in our own circles of, you know, and to be an artist at all, you're already kind of broken off from society. You know, like when I was really young, I realized that none of it made any sense to me, so I wasn't ever really driven by becoming a part of it. Like, I liked to make art that spoke to it. You know, somehow. And when I made music, I like it appealed to me because I could yell and scream and let all the fucking anger and feelings out. When I started doing comedy, it's the same thing. You're just kind of standing outside the bubble. You're looking in, and you're trying to make sense of it all. But there is no sense to be made of it. So when you finally let go, become a comedian, it's like that line in The Watchmen. It's like when you realize what a joke everything is, being a comedian's the only option, really. There's lots of stuff happening that is disturbing, and like I said, we're sliding down a path that very uncertain. Anyway, if this is your first time watching, if you came from the blue sky or and you don't know anything about me, I have an album. It's called Cancel Cultured. It's on YouTube Music and iTunes and all that shit. That's where my stand-up. If you want to get a better idea of where I'm coming from, it's all there. And I want to thank Jerry Saylor, for helping me set all this stuff up. And I want to thank Daniele Bellelli, who will be with me once a week. I said he might be here Thursday, he might be here Saturday. We haven't decided. Whatever day is good for him, but he'll be with me. So, and then, like I told people before, if you are interested in being a guest on this show, hit me up. Message me on Facebook, or hit me, or send me an email at Bruce Leonard Leans Left at Outlook.com. If you want to talk about the show, or if you just want to write me, if you're watching the show and you enjoy it, or you want to tell me to fuck off. Haters or viewers as well, you can watch and hate. I'm sure I'll gather up some of those people. They watch because they can't stand me. I never really got that either. I don't watch. I hate Jesse Waters. I never watch his fucking show. They're like, I don't want to watch him because I hate him so much. Clay Travis used to be on the radio. He'd hate that fucker too. Like, turn on the radio. Like, oh, it's Clay Travis. Click, turn the channel. Sometimes I'd listen for a few minutes to see what kind of ridiculous shit he said. And they're always so ridiculous. Clay Travis is hilarious because he was a sports guy first. And he always kind of dug his little right-wing points in while he was doing sports, but he was a sports guy mostly. And his sports takes were awful. He was never right about anything. He's constantly wrong. He's on for years, and we're like, how is this guy still in the air? He's always wrong. Like, at least like Stephen A. Smith is a jerk off, but he's right about some stuff. Like, this guy Travis was never right about anything. And then he made the switch and just went straight politics. And he's wrong about that too. It's like, man, your politics takes are just as shitty as your sports takes. Like, I can't believe anybody could be so wrong about everything all the time and still have a fucking job. It's unbelievable. A lot of these guys are that. That's why I'm getting in this game, I guess, now. Fuck, if 5 million people watch Tim Pool. Who, by the way, if you didn't know this, 100% true, you can look it up. Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, they're all paid by Russians. Millions. Russians gave them millions of dollars to do their podcast thing. Because I'll give you this, Putin, he ain't no dummy. They got the troll. They paid the podcasters to pass their Russian propaganda, and they did it. And it worked. It worked. You realize in the UN yesterday, we voted with Iran, Russia, North Korea. This is where we're headed, folks, if we don't do something about it. You're going to let him, the transatlantic alliance, it could maybe be saved, I guess, if we wake up, get rid of him, impeach him, and the country's too weak to protect itself from these people. That's the real problem. And the system of checks and balances doesn't work if nobody wants to run the check. If you don't do a check, there ain't no balance. Right now, they're just letting him do whatever he wants. So, like I said, get out in the street. Go to your congressman. Write your congressman. Call him on the phone. Email him. Fucking make them hear your voice. Because I don't know if you notice this, but if the voice gets loud enough, shit happens in this country. So, you know, they've already done it with the Doge. Like, enough people complained and bitched about some of the Doge that they had to backtrack, you know. We haven't even talked about Elon Musk, and I'm going to save that for Thursday, I think. We'll go into a deep dive on Elon Musk on Thursday. I'm going to get out of here, I think. So, I did 1 hour, maybe a little more. So, I think that's good for a first episode. But I said in the beginning, I'm all new at this, so maybe it isn't. I thank you for watching. Like I said, and I'll be on, this show will be regular now. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes it might be an hour, sometimes it might be a little more. Like I said, sometimes I'll have a guest. Sometimes it'll just be me. Like it was today. Anyway, I'm trying to, sooner or later I will get this music really set up. Right now I'm just winging it. So, thank you for watching. Like I said, you can follow me on social medias, Blue Sky, at Bruce Leonard. I never use it, but if you do, use the fucking Twitter. As Bruce Leonard 20. Instagram, Bruce Leonard Comedy. Facebook, I have a page called The Twisted Mind of Bruce Leonard, and my regular page is Adam Chancellor, because I've been banned for life from Facebook. That's another story I'll tell on another day. Like I said, Thursday we'll talk about Elon Musk. Thank you guys for hanging out.